Is that a mark on your microphone muff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just dust.
Hmm.
There you go. Cleaned me muff for you.
Just how I like it. I do like you to show up to these podcast recordings with a clean muff, please.
I do apologise. It's a bit dusty.
Dusty muff.
Oh, we have fun.
Yeah, talking about our dusty muffs.
Yeah. So anyways, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Been a busy week since we last spoke.
Yeah, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Where the fuck is the summer?
Oh, God. I know.
It's so dreary. And I can't
know.
explain to you how much it's having an impact on my mental health. So if you could do something about it, please.
Honestly,
it's just so dismal.
It's
dreary.
Rainy, drizzly, cold.
Yeah. It's dark. Like, it's just not nice.
It's not nice. Don't like
Not
it.
nice.
No. I want to have some summer, please.
Only in lockdown will we get summer.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the only time we're allowed sunshine.
Oh, it's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, really depressing. I'm sat looking out at the back. Because what happens, Kate, and this happens every fucking time, is that the weather says it's not going to rain. So I go, oh, it looks kind of all right outside. I'll pick my washing out.
Yeah.
Starts to rain.
Every time.
Every single time. So I've not picked my washing out today. I've got it sat next to me.
It's August, man.
It's August. Yeah, I felt this morning, as soon as I put some clothes on, because I was obviously cold, so I put some clothes on, that immediately there was too much clothes on my skin.
Yep.
And it was I wanted to rip them all off because there was too much clothing on my skin.
Yeah.
But you know,
that. Especially when you got a dusty muff.
Yeah.
You got a dusty muff. Need to cover that shit with some clothes.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Otherwise, there'll be an avalanche of slags. Again. Got to shout out. Whoop, 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 whoop. And it's not from Mothman. Oh, Miss Mothman. We haven't done the Mothman shout out for a while. Mothman.
Have you done the Mothman shout out in your sleep recently?
Probably. I don't know. Claire's been too tired to acknowledge anything that I shout out. So, yeah, don't know. No Mothman shout outs in my sleep, I don't think. But I have another shout out to Linda. Thanks, Linda.
Our newest subscriber.
And she has subscribed to us. Well, I won't say the amount, but
you don't need to.
It's a nice amount. Thanks, Linda. Linda must be raking it in. No, we really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Today's story.
Wait.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, you know what? I started then and I thought, I'm missing. So what am I missing? I felt like, you know, when you say, like, when someone holds the door open for you and you just walk through it and don't say anything, you're like,
no, I never do.
Something's missing. Exactly. Something's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something is missing. Two things are missing.
Go on.
First, random blam.
Random blam. Go on, you go first so that I've got time to think of a random blam.
Oh shit, random blam. We should do them for each other as well.
What do you mean?
Random blam about Sarah is that Sarah has done loads of what are those things that you do, the physical things?
Oh, the nuclear races.
Nuclear races.
Yeah.
You've done loads of those and you just fly through it. You make it look really easy and I would die.
Yeah. Not anymore though.
Attempt it. No, don't say not anymore. Just not at the moment.
I will do. Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
going up the stairs is sometimes fatiguing enough.
For me, but that's just because I'm fat. That's not because I'm going through any kind of serious treatment. Yeah. Random blam about you. Boom. Me. Oh, I know a random blam.
Go on.
Random blam for me is I accompanied someone once to a meat market and I bought a lamb that was a couple of weeks old, and I rescued it from the meat trade and I raised it, and it lived in my bedroom and it slept on my bed, and I fed him with a milk bottle hours through the night during the day, and I used to walk him on a lead to the park.
I love this.
People used to ask me what kind of dog it was, and I was like, it's a lamb, you idiot. And his name was Dinky, and he lived a full life into sheephood. Yeah, he was my baby, and I loved him. And I'd do it again, I tell you.
What did you do with Dinky?
Dinky, he went to live at an animal sanctuary as an adult, and I continued. I used to go to the animal sanctuary and I used to look after him every day.
Did he love you?
He did love me.
Oh,
and nice. I loved him.
Yeah,
my Dinky. Yeah,
that's really cute.
I used to take him biscuits in my pocket, and I used to go and clean him out every morning, and then I used to get showered and changed and go to school, and then when I finished school I'd go back to him at the animal sanctuary and I'd tuck him into bed.
I thought you meant as a fully fledged adult this is what happened. You done it while you was in school?
Yeah, while I was at school.
That's so funny.
I bought him for £4. Well, actually, I took him off of the boy that was holding him and kind of threw £4 at him. I said, take that. I was angry. And yeah, I was about 13 at the time.
That's so funny.
And I haven't eaten lamb since.
Oh.
So he lived life into a big, fat, healthy sheep.
Oh, that's a lovely random blam. I enjoyed that one.
A woolly random blam, that was. Yeah. Morning.
Yeah.
Hope you're all well. Are you well?
I am well. I am as well as can be.
Good.
Given the circumstances and the terrible weather and the children being off school for 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? Everyone loves that. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I am well. And today's story is one that I'd heard of. Somebody mentioned it when we started doing the podcast. Somebody mentioned it to me as a possible story to do, and I haven't got around to doing it. So here it is. And it is called The Slender Man Stabbing.
Ooh. I've heard of the Slender Man.
I had obviously heard of the Slender Man, but I didn't know who, or what it was. I don't know. I didn't know what Slender Man was. So if anybody out there that has heard of Slender Man has no idea what it is, I shall tell you.
Lovely.
So Slender Man was originally created on the internet forum called Something Awful in 2009, and it was for a competition. And the competition was asking for people to create a somewhat like modern day mythical creature of some sorts. And then it was turned into a meme by Creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
Or creepypasta, as you say.
As I call it, yeah.
Yep. And it gained all sorts of media attention, and people were turning it into all sorts of different things, and it's since then become some sort of like an urban legend. So Slender Man is typically described as a mythical creature, often depicted as tall, thin figure wearing a black
and slender.
Tall and slender, and a man.
And a man.
A very tall, thin figure wearing a black suit and a blank face, and he can stretch or shorten his arms at will and has tentacle-like appendages protruding from his back. And it is said that he likes to stalk, abduct, or scare people, especially children.
Same.
So, how does a little girl end up being stabbed multiple times by two of her best friends on May the 31st, 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin because of this meme? I heard you asking, so...
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, 12-year-old Peyton Lutner is described by her mum as being a very kind, caring little girl. So it was no wonder that when she was 10 years old, she befriended a lonely classmate called Morgan Geiser. Peyton said she first approached Morgan because she was sitting alone at school, and after that, the pair took up like all best friends did, and they hung out after school and they had sleepovers, and they were just two normal little girls, two normal best friends. And Morgan even gave Peyton a nickname, and her nickname was Bella. And it doesn't explain why her nickname was Bella, but it's what everybody then called her. Instead of calling her Peyton, they called her Bella, but I will continue to call her Peyton. Peyton said that Morgan was very funny. She had a lot of jokes to tell. She was really good at drawing. She had a great imagination, which meant that they always had fun games to play. She said that Morgan was just really fun to be with. And the pair were best friends for the next 2 years, until their friendship started to take a back seat when 12-year-old Anissa Weir entered the picture. Anissa had recently moved into the same apartment complex as Morgan, and the two had become fast friends, sort of like instantly. And this is when Morgan and Anissa became obsessed with the fictional Slender Man character. And Morgan believed, like with her whole heart, that Slender Man was real. Peyton didn't really like listening to the stories of Slender Man. She thought that it was quite scary, but she went along with it because Morgan was her friend and she wanted to be supportive, and she was also worried about being left out as well because Anissa was so heavily into this whole Slender Man thing, and so was Morgan. She wanted to kind of be involved with it as well, and she didn't want to be left out.
Yeah.
But Peyton said that Anissa she just wasn't very nice. She described her as being very cruel and very jealous. But nevertheless, Peyton was super excited when she was invited to a slumber party for Morgan's 12th birthday. The trio had a fun evening of roller skating, they had pizza, they played with their dolls, and then Morgan insisted that they go to bed early to get an early night. And Peyton said that was kind of strange because it was a slumber party and normally they'd stay up all night, have loads of fun, but Morgan was quite insistent that they go to bed early. So the next morning, which is May 31st, Morgan told Peyton that she wanted to go to the park, and Peyton thought, she didn't really think anything of it, and she was quite happy to go to the park with Morgan and Anissa, not knowing what the girls had planned for her. So Peyton's mum would never normally let her out of the park or let her out to the park by herself, especially if there was no adults around. But she thought because it was for Morgan's birthday and there was 3 of them going, she decided that it would be fine because they all said, like Peyton's mum said that nothing bad ever happened in the town of Waukesha.
Oh, see, never say that.
I know, they
always just can't say that. Yeah, nothing like that ever happens here.
Yeah. So reports vary on the exact details of what happens next, and that is mostly because Morgan and Anissa, they offer different stories. But what is factual is that once they were at the park, Anissa tackled Peyton to the ground and tried to knock her out, but was unsuccessful.
How old were they, did you say? 12.
But so once they were at the park, Anissa attacked Peyton, and Peyton said she had no idea what was going on, and she was really sort of angry about it.
Yeah.
But Morgan sort of took control of the situation, and she was like, "Oh, well, let's go and play a game of hide and seek." And Peyton was super confused. She didn't know what had just happened. Why has this girl tackled her to her ground and started trying to attack her?
Out.
Yeah. But she was at the point where, she had two choices. She either stays with the two or she goes off by herself. So she didn't really know what to do, and she didn't want to go off by herself because her mum had specifically said, stay together. She didn't want to go off by herself.
Well, yeah, because that's what we tell Jess as well.
Yeah.
When she's 14, but even now, on the odd occasion that she will go out with like a couple of friends or anything like that, we're always saying to her, do not go off by yourself. Stay together, stay together, stay together.
But if the group are being, if they're doing things that Jess doesn't agree with.
They're the ones that is, putting Jess in danger.
Yeah.
Do go off by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult line. Like you say, they're not at that age. They're not old enough to understand. Well, actually, I'll be safer going off by myself, or to rationalise. Actually, Mum would think that I've done the right decision by not staying with the pair and going off by myself. Yeah. So it is a difficult age.
What did she do?
She decided to go with Morgan into the surrounding the woods that surrounded the park. Morgan had suggested they go play a game of hide and seek. So Morgan told Peyton to lie down on the ground in the wooded area and to cover herself with sticks and leaves. And Peyton did. She didn't think anything of it. And it was at that point that Morgan withdrew a large kitchen knife out of her bag, and she climbed on top of her best friend and then proceeded to stab her 19 times.
Jesus.
Peyton was stabbed in her chest, her abdomen, and her arms and legs. She had 5 wounds on her arms, 7 on her legs, and the rest were scattered across the rest of her body. Once the attack was over, Morgan and Anissa told Peyton not to worry. They said, don't worry, we'll go and get you some help. And they left their friend bleeding to death on the floor of the woods.
Oh, God.
But Peyton said she knew not to trust them. I don't know what gave her that idea.
I was going to say. But no shit.
So she decided not to trust her friends, and Peyton dragged her broken, stabbed, bloody body out of the densely wooded area, and she managed to get herself into like a clearing. And it was in that patch of clearing that she was spotted by a bicyclist. I'm going to say bicyclist because I don't know whether cyclist is the right word, but I always say bicyclist.
Okay. I mean, that's not a word, but
it's not a word.
No. Cyclist.
A bicyclist.
Cyclist.
Yeah.
Cyclist
I've always called it a bicyclist.
Okay. Well, yeah. There's no rules in this podcast, so
Yeah, he was on his bike, so
he was a bicyclist.
Yeah.
Fine.
So it was in that patch clearing that she was spotted by a bicyclist who had decided not. Would you prefer me to say cyclist?
No.
Okay. So it was in that patch of clearing that she was spotted by a bicyclist. Now, this guy decided to go on this pathway through the woods that had actually been chained off.
Okay.
So this route that he was on had a big chain across it, and it was actually shut off to the public, but he thought, nah, I'm going. So
see, he didn't follow the rules, did he?
He did not follow the rules, and he happened upon Peyton.
Got to be a hero.
Yep. So once he spotted Peyton sort of like almost passed out on the ground. I think she's sort of called out for help, and she was like, help me, I've been stabbed. And he immediately called 911 and an ambulance was sent. The doctors at Pro Health Waukesha Memorial Hospital performed emergency surgery on Peyton and was shocked by her critical injuries. The stab wounds that she'd suffered to her arms and legs had only damaged the soft tissue, but the 2 to her torso had hit major organs. One had cut through her diaphragm, damaging her liver and stomach, and the other had nearly penetrated her heart and had missed a major artery by less than a millimeter.
Oh my God, that's like a hair width, isn't it?
Yep.
Jeez.
So Peyton woke from surgery about 6 hours later with 25 new scars. And she said that when she woke up, she immediately had this fear that her attackers were still out to get her. She was so worried that they hadn't been caught, they hadn't been found, and that they were still out to get her. But police had already apprehended Morgan and Anissa, and they were walking aimlessly along a main road. They had travelled on foot for around 5 miles since the attack, and happily told police that they were on their way to find Slender Man, who was apparently residing in the Nicollet National Forest. I don't know if that's his actual home address or not. I don't know, but
I wonder if he knows Mothman. Mothman!
Yes.
Slender Man!
Once in custody, Morgan told police that she had fully intended to kill Peyton in order to become one of Slender Man's proxies and be worthy of living alongside him, and that if she didn't kill Peyton, or if it wasn't necessarily Peyton, but if she didn't kill somebody, then bad things would happen to her family. But what they were shocked to hear her say was that this wasn't the first time that she'd wanted to hurt somebody. She spoke quite openly about the fact that she wanted to hurt people. But they were normally people that were mean to her. But Peyton obviously wasn't. Peyton was her best friend.
Yeah.
It turns out that Morgan and Anissa had been planning Peyton's murder for a few weeks. And they'd actually originally planned to kill her while she slept at the slumber party. But last minute, Morgan decided that they needed to do it out of the house so that they wouldn't get caught. The plan had then been to kill Peyton in the park toilets and let her blood wash away down the drain.
Oh, God. So dark.
But she said that she found it difficult. Like when Anissa attacked Peyton and was trying to knock her out and they couldn't, that's when she sort of came up with the whole hide and seek thing. She told police in the interview, "From what I read on the computer, it's easier to kill people when they're either asleep or unconscious, and it's also easier if you do not look them in the eyes." So when police asked her what had happened in the woods, Morgan said, "We led her there and tricked her. People who trust you become very gullible, and it was sort of sad."
Yeah, that is sad. You're right.
And when the officer asked her what happened next, she said, "I already told you. Stab, 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 stab."
Oh my God.
She added, "It was weird. I felt no remorse. I thought I would, but I actually felt nothing."
Oh dear.
Yeah, but they're just really forthcoming. Both girls were really forthcoming about what they'd done and why they'd done it.
Got no guilt, or they're just like, that's what I did.
What I did. I was off to go and see Slender Man. See you later. Wisconsin law states that an individual over 10 years of age can be tried as an adult in attempted murder cases.
Oh, blimey.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
At the age of 10, I was trying to word this when I was writing it. I didn't really know how to word it. But what I was trying to say is that you're not able, based on the law, you're not able to make the decision to consent to a sexual act until the age of 16. And you're not deemed an adult or able to be in your right mind to buy alcohol until the age of 21. But at the age of 10, they think that you're adult enough to know what you're... I think 10 is very young to be tried as an adult.
It's really difficult though, isn't it? Because at 10, you know what's right. Yeah, and what's wrong. And you know that murder is, you know what murder is.
Yes, you might know what murder is, but you don't, a lot of children don't associate murder with death, or that they don't know that death is actually a permanent thing.
But I don't know if you would be like that at the age of 10. Lewis is coming up for 10 in November, and he has a full understanding of, you know, death is death and it is forever. And but I mean, going back to like when he was 5 or 6, you know, and the kids lost their rabbit, I obviously buried the rabbit in the back garden. And the following day, Lewis got up and came down and said, "Can we go out and wake up Bun Bun now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it was that realization of, no, you don't. I thought he had understood like the day before when, you know, obviously we'd had to bury Bun Bun, but it was only that next morning that I kind of looked at Claire and I was like, no, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that that's a forever thing, you know.
It's not just about, they might understand that, but actually your brain isn't fully formed at the age of 10. Your brain is not fully formed. So consequence is something that you don't learn for a very long time. So at the age of 10, you don't fully understand that your actions have consequences. Or what the consequences of those actions might be. Yeah. So at the age of 10, your brain just isn't formed enough. And I find that crazy that you can be tried as, they think that a 10-year-old's brain, you can compare to an adult brain.
I just don't know how I'd feel about it. I think it depends if there's sort of different levels to it, I guess. You know, is it they're tried as an adult if it's like murder, as in the first degree, it was planned, it was,
well, it said in attempted murder cases. So not even in murder cases, in attempted murder cases.
Yeah, but if you're attempted murder is still going to be the same thing, whether or not
it's planned.
Yeah, whether or not it's, you know, whether you actually end up killing that person, it's successful for what you planned it for, is kind of irrelevant. If your intention was to take someone's life at the age of 10, you understand that is wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it's not horrendous, because it is. That's horrific, being tried. But how would I feel if having a child that was 12 years old and another 12-year-old intentionally planned it and carried it out and took
you would think they was old enough, if they're old enough to you've planned all this. I just don't think that you can compare the logistical thinking of a 10-year-old to the logistical thinking of an actual adult. I just don't think that you can compare the two.
I agree, but I do think that, you know, there has to be repercussions, there has to be consequences for this sort of thing, because it's just, how would I feel? I would want them to be punished as an adult.
I don't think I'd want them to be punished as an adult, though.
What if they took your child?
I know, but I think that at 10, your behaviour can be corrected in a way. I think that you can go to like a, you know, rehabilitation type thing. And I think at 10, you're not old enough to understand that what you do will affect you for the duration of your life. I don't think at 10 you would understand that.
No.
So they shouldn't get 40 years in prison because they did not know, and they did not understand that what she was doing then would mean that she would be in prison for the rest of her life. I don't think that.
I don't know. It goes back to the whole Jamie Bulger case as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, they absolutely fucking deserved it. Anyways, both girls pled not guilty to the attack by reason of mental illness. So Morgan, who was, as you remember, Peyton's best friend, she was actually the one that was responsible for the stabbings. So she was evaluated and was actually diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia.
Oh.
And I did find somewhere in my research that her dad also had schizophrenia, and it is hereditary. So she was diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia and psychotic spectrum disorder, which made her prone to delusions. She told police that she'd previously had conversations with Lord Voldemort and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, same.
In Morgan's bedroom, police found hundreds of drawings of Slender Man and mutilated dolls, and they also found internet searches on her computer, like how to get away with murder and what kind of insane am I, along with a lot of other websites of Slender Man and things like that.
Sounds like she had some big struggles.
Yes. Both girls were found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Right.
Anissa received a lesser sentence as she actually hadn't participated in the stabbings. She actually had kind of planned the stabbing but hadn't participated in the stabbing. So she was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health institution, but she was released in 2021. In a conditional release, she is required to live with her father and receive psychiatric treatment and agree to GPS monitoring and also limited internet access. Morgan, however, was handed a sentence of 40 years in the Winnebago Mental Health Institute in Wisconsin, and she remains there to this day, and it's expected to stay there for the foreseeable future.
Goodness.
Peyton was released from hospital after a few weeks of recovery, and he's living her best life. She's given an interview a little while ago about the attack, and she actually said that she doesn't really remember a lot of the attack, which she's really glad about. She said she remembers not feeling anything, which I find so strange. Whenever you hear about stabbings and things like that, they say that they don't feel it. But I got a knife out the drawer the other day and I sliced my finger a little bit.
Intentionally, or
no,
I was going to say, you need help.
As I got it out of the block, the wooden knife block, the block fell towards me. So I grabbed it with the other hand, but I continued to draw the knife out of the block. So I am prone to cutting myself. I'm very clumsy. I'm not allowed near sharp knives. If we've bought a new knife set, absolutely hacking my finger off. I'm not allowed near it.
I remember the story of you round Josie's mum's.
Yeah, I cut myself, yep. Yep. But the pain of slicing my finger, I'm not dramatic at all, but I actually went into Josie and was like, I think I've cut myself quite badly. So she then came in. I'd done the smallest little, like, almost paper cut type slice. Right. Fucking hell, the pain.
Yeah, but I think that's different because I've noticed this as well. When people say, you know, like near-death experiences or people that have been stabbed and they feel like, they say they felt like someone had pushed them or like hit them or something.
Yeah,
and they think, they've just hit me. Yeah. Yeah. Because they can feel the pressure of being like hit. And it's only when they see the blood that they think, I've actually been stabbed, or they see the knife or something. And then they're like, oh, okay, I've been stabbed. But they never talk about like excruciating pain or anything like that. But I think it's like my mum used to say, if it's something that's like life-threatening or possibly life-threatening, it's like your body kind of
protects you from it.
Yeah, protects you from that amount of pain.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes it like away from you. So I do think that like when people sort of die in like accidents and things like that, and you think, oh my God, they, you know, died from being really badly hurt or really badly injured or something.
Yeah.
I don't think that they actually
feel pain.
Do experience that. I think something kind of whips your sort of consciousness away so that you're not actually sort of conscious of it.
I just can't believe that they wouldn't feel the pain of being stabbed. But I think that your memory is, your brain tries to protect you, doesn't it? So that you forget that pain. The same as childbirth. You don't remember. You remember that it was, you know, it wasn't great, but I don't remember the pain.
It's not for me.
Anyways,
I won't risk it.
So yeah, she talks quite openly about the attack, but that she says that she doesn't really like remember any pain or anything like that, but she remembers not trusting them when they said that they went to get help. But when I researched this Slender Man stabbing, I found a few others that were also related to Slender Man. So I've popped them on here because I find it quite strange. So after hearing this story of the Slender Man stabbings, a few other people kind of came forward with the same sort of experiences. An unidentified woman from Cincinnati told a reporter in June 2014 that her 13-year-old daughter had attacked her with a knife and had written macabre fiction, some of which involved Slender Man, who the mother said motivated the attack. And she believed that her daughter was told by Slender Man to do these attacks and do these horrible things.
Her mum believed that Slender Man had told her daughter.
Well, that her daughter believed that Slender Man had told her.
Okay. I was going to say.
The mum doesn't believe that.
Might want to check the mum out too.
The mum believed that the daughter believed that the Slender Man had told her. On September the 4th, 2014, a 14-year-old girl in Port Richey, Florida, allegedly set her family's house on fire while her mother and 9-year-old brother were inside.
Oh, God.
Police reported that the teenager had been reading online stories about Slender Man, and the girl had visited websites that contained a lot of Slender Man information and stories. And a few weeks after the stabbing of Peyton, a man was accused of killing 2 cops and a civilian before committing suicide with his wife in Las Vegas, often dressed up in a costume as Slender Man. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like the sound of Slender Man.
No, it's not someone that I'd want to mix with.
No, it baffles me that people can... that this is just a drawing that somebody's come up with. And it was actually based on a photo. So the person that created Slender Man had seen this photo, and it's a famous photo of about 14 Chinese students. And in the background of this photo, it looks like a very tall man. So that's what Slender Man is based on, just that. And he's just kind of picked it out and created this fiction. Like, it's not a real thing, but people
Or is it?
But people just get so involved in these stories,
like legends.
They kind of make it real, and that really baffles me.
Perplexes you mean?
It really does. We wanted to call this podcast Baffled, but we couldn't, could we? So we went with Perplexed.
Perplexed is better.
But so that was the story of the Slender Man.
That's crazy, that a drawing pretty much out of someone's imagination.
Oh, it's just a competition.
Can then suddenly go to people and murdering on his behalf. So that they can get in with his mates. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, these girls genuinely believed that to be worthy of living with Slender Man and being, one of his proxies, that they had to do these bad things. And that's why I think as a 10-year-old, you can't be seen as being an adult, because an adult generally wouldn't be like, in order to be Slender Man's friend, I've got to do these horrible things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe that, but as a 10-year-old, you don't have that level of logic or understanding per se. So
it's scary, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't want to live with Slender Man.
No.
Imagine how you'd always look really fat, wouldn't you?
And feel really small.
I'd be really, really small, really fat. I'd hate that. And then he'd always be trying to get me to like stab people and stuff. I can't be doing with all that.
No, not about that.
No.
Stab people of your own accord, won't you?
Yeah, exactly. I've got my own reasons. I've got my own list.
Don't like being told what to do.
I don't like being told who to stab.
If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
People who...
Billy.
Oh! Oh! You're going to see that back.
Bill, jeez.
He's a massive cat.
Yeah, I know, it's because
Why is he so big?
I need him to keep him quiet.
It's not a fucking dog.